Stop. Before you rush through another December, before you lose yourself in lists and deadlines, breathe. You were never meant to race through life trying to prove that you care. You were meant to live, to feel, to think, to create calm in the middle of chaos. Look around you. The world calls it the season of joy, yet most live it in exhaustion. They chase gifts they cannot afford, faces they must impress, expectations that leave them empty. But joy does not come from what you buy or how much you give. It comes from what you believe. You have been trained to believe that love must be proven by noise, that peace must be earned through exhaustion. That is a lie. Peace is not a product of circumstance. It is the result of order within the mind. And the mind cannot find peace while it is enslaved to hurry. This year, the greatest gift you can give yourself is stillness, a quiet moment to think, to step back from the race and remember who you are. Not a machine, not a performer, but a creator. The creator of your own atmosphere, your own thoughts, your own world. Ask yourself, what is the purpose of this season if not to awaken gratitude? What is gratitude if not a thought? And what is thought if not the foundation of every miracle that follows? You cannot feel abundance while your mind is filled with anxiety. You cannot receive blessings while you believe you must earn rest. I tell you this truth. Your peace has never depended on the behavior of others. It depends only on the command you issue to your own mind. While the world rushes, you will slow down. While they react, you will decide. While they complain, you will give thanks. There is a power in you that no season can overwhelm. If you would but think deliberately and calmly, you could transform every worry into wisdom. You could turn every moment of stress into strength. You could walk through these final days of the year untouched by chaos because you finally understand that peace is a decision. Listen carefully, for what I am about to show you may change the way you experience not only this holiday, but every day thereafter. You will learn how to quiet the storm inside, how to turn your thoughts into a sanctuary, and how to command peace on demand. This Christmas is not your test. It is your reminder that you are the master of your mind, the author of your emotions, and the keeper of your peace. And no matter what waits outside your door, the power to rest, to truly rest, has been within you all along. Part 1. The law of inner stillness. The world rushes. It hurries through hours as if life were a contest of exhaustion. Men chase shadows, mistaking movement for progress and speed for strength. Yet all true power is born in silence. Every invention, every fortune, every revelation begins not in noise, but in thought. The mind that thinks slowly wins quickly, for it acts from clarity, not confusion. You were not made to live in constant motion. You were made to command motion. There is a difference between movement and mastery. The first drains life, the second directs it. The man who cannot be still for a moment cannot think long enough to see truth. And no man can rule the world around him until he first rules the world within. Look around you. The crowd hurries through December as if peace were earned through panic. Yet peace has never been bought. It has always been decided. Stress is nothing more than the mind's rebellion against its own disorder. It is not life that exhausts you, but your resistance to it. You must learn to quiet the mind, for only in stillness does thought find its true rhythm. When was the last time you sat still enough to hear your own thoughts? When did you last stop long enough to let faith speak louder than fear? You have spent years listening to the world's demands. Now, for a few moments, listen to yourself. That quiet voice within has been waiting for your attention. It has been whispering one command: be still and think. Breathe, feel the air as it enters your body. You have been given the gift of thought, of choice. To breathe is to affirm control. Each calm breath is an act of dominion over fear. Each moment of silence is a step toward mastery. The one who can remain calm when the world panics possesses a power no army can conquer. Henry Ford built his empire not in haste, but in harmony. When others rushed, he studied. When they argued, he thought. He once said that thinking is the hardest work there is, and that is why so few do it. Edison, too, worked amid constant failure without losing composure. He understood that impatience clouds the intellect, while calm reveals the solution. Peace is not retreat. It is deliberate power. It is the proof that one has learned the first commandment of success: control thyself. A quiet mind is not an empty mind. It is a focused one. It gathers energy instead of scattering it. It turns confusion into creation. When your thoughts move in ordered rhythm, every action you take bears the stamp of purpose. The first law of stillness is simple. Pause before you speak. Observe before you decide. Think before you act. This is not weakness. It is the discipline of kings. The man who pauses owns the moment. The one who reacts loses it. Stillness does not delay progress. It preserves it. Every mistake ever made was born of hurry. Every triumph was born of patience. If you feel restless, know that calm is not something to find. It is something to command. Say quietly, "My calmness is command. My silence is strength." Repeat it until your heart believes it. You will begin to feel a new kind of authority, an inner certainty that needs no proof from the world. When the mind becomes calm, it becomes receptive. The voice of infinite intelligence cannot be heard through noise. It speaks only in order. In stillness, you begin to sense its guidance. Ideas that once seemed distant draw near. Problems that once appeared complex reveal simple solutions. The universe does not hide wisdom. It simply waits for you to become quiet enough to hear it. Peace, then, is not the absence of action. It is the foundation of intelligent action. The calm thinker accomplishes more in a day than the frantic worker in a week. The man who keeps his head in confusion becomes the anchor for others who drift. Calmness is magnetic. It attracts trust, cooperation, and opportunity. You may test this now. When irritation rises, do not answer it. Let silence respond for you. When fear whispers, pause and breathe. Observe it, but do not obey it. You will feel power where there was once weakness, clarity where there was once confusion. This is mastery in its earliest form, the ability to choose one's own reaction. Edison once said that success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. But what he left unwritten was the secret of persistence, that both inspiration and effort require composure. Without calm, the mind burns itself out before its work is done. With calm, it endures until victory. Stillness does not mean idleness. It is the ordered mind preparing for action. It is thought gathering strength. The man who acts without stillness builds castles upon sand. The man who acts from stillness builds upon rock. If you would save 10 years of wasted labor, learn to stop before you begin, to think before you move. Observe nature. The river that seems still on the surface moves with immense power beneath. So too must you learn to still the surface of your mind, for only then can the current of thought move unhindered. Your calm exterior conceals a depth of power that others mistake for mystery. In truth, it is mastery. Ask yourself, do I rush because I must, or because I fear to be still? For many, motion is escape from thought. They fear what silence may reveal. But it is in silence that the truth of purpose appears. The man who avoids stillness avoids himself. The man who embraces it meets his own strength face to face. Each evening, take 10 minutes of deliberate quiet. Turn away from noise, from demands, from distraction. Sit and think. Review your day, not as critic, but as architect. What thought built it? What thought destroyed it? You will soon see that all experience is thought in form. To control thought is to control destiny. Those who practice stillness daily develop an unshakable calm. When chaos rises, their mind does not tremble. When insult comes, they smile inwardly, for they know no one can disturb what they have built within. Such mastery cannot be purchased. It must be cultivated through habit and faith. Repeat often, I think calmly. I act deliberately. My peace is my power. Let these words guide your mornings and close your nights. You will discover that faith and stillness are one and the same. The quiet knowing that all things move toward your good when you move toward order. This discipline of calm is the first law of success, the unseen foundation upon which every dream rests. Without it, even talent is wasted. With it, even small ability becomes great. The man who governs his thoughts governs his fate. And when others rush this season, remember, peace is not earned through effort. It is maintained through thought. You are not here to impress, but to express, not to hurry, but to harmonize. Your stillness is the first gift of power you can give yourself. You have stilled the surface. Now we shall command the current beneath. Part 2, the science of emotional command. Emotion is energy without a master. Thought gives it purpose. The untrained man is ruled by moods as the wind rules the sea. He wakes strong and ends weary because his emotions, left unchecked, waste his strength. Yet emotion itself is not the enemy. It is raw power. The difference between chaos and creation lies in who commands it. Every achievement in history was born from emotion directed by thought. Faith, courage, love, gratitude. These are emotional forces guided by purpose. Fear, anger, worry, jealousy. These are emotions gone astray, consuming the energy that might have built an empire. To master emotion is not to suppress it, but to direct it. You cannot destroy fire, but you can teach it where to burn. There are two men inside every mind. One reacts, the other decides. The first is slave to impulse. The second is servant of vision. The moment you pause between stimulus and response, you hand the reins back to your higher self. The untrained man lives by reaction. The thinker lives by choice. When anger rises, stop and ask, who commands me now? My fear or my faith? The man who can question himself in the heat of emotion has already begun to master it. Anger is energy that can build if harnessed or destroy if ignored. It is the heat that forges iron, but only if guided by intelligence. Abraham Lincoln understood this principle. Surrounded by conflict and criticism, he refused to answer in haste. He often wrote letters in the heat of anger, only to place them in a drawer and never send them. Time cooled emotion and clarified judgment. Through self-command, he gained moral power that silenced enemies more surely than argument. You must learn to do the same. When emotion surges, let silence become your armor. Step back, breathe, and observe. Do not suppress the feeling. Convert it. The energy once used for anxiety can be turned toward faith. The strength once spent on resentment can be transmuted into patience. Every negative emotion carries a hidden opposite. Find it, and you will find power. Take a page and write every recurring worry that haunts your mind. Next to it, write its opposite command. Where you wrote, I am afraid, write, I have faith. Where you wrote, I cannot, write, I will. Repeat these statements aloud each morning until your subconscious accepts them as truth. Autosuggestion is the science of emotional control. You are teaching the mind to obey you. Say often, I master emotion. I choose thought. I turn worry into will. These are not mere words. They are verbal instruments shaping your inner order. Speak them calmly and deliberately, and your nervous system will respond. Emotion obeys rhythm. When you speak in harmony, your whole being adjusts to that vibration. Faith is the foundation of calm. It is the quiet certainty that life will obey law. Doubt scatters thought, but faith gathers it. No storm can disturb the sea that believes in its own depth. Faith is not blind. It is disciplined vision. It sees cause and effect where others see chaos. It is the conviction that your deliberate thought will bear fruit, regardless of appearances. Carnegie built his empire not through excitement, but through emotional stillness. While others feared loss, he believed in law. He said that the man who cannot control his temper cannot control his destiny. His calm attracted those who sought strength. Leadership is nothing more than organized emotion guided by purpose. Every time you waste energy in anger or worry, you deplete the creative force that could have solved your problem. Emotional waste is the unseen poverty of the mind. Begin conserving it as you would money. Spend emotion only where it produces results. The man who learns emotional economy doubles his efficiency and halves his stress. Imagine your emotions as loyal workers. They are powerful but blind. Without supervision, they ruin the field. Under guidance, they harvest abundance. Your job is to direct, not dismiss them. To feel deeply and think clearly is the rarest combination of power on earth. You may say, "But I am too emotional." Then you have been given great fuel. The greater the emotion, the greater the energy waiting to serve you. The most passionate man, once disciplined, becomes the most powerful. Emotion is not weakness. Undirected emotion is. Remember this law. Thought organizes emotion. Emotion energizes thought. They are not enemies, but allies under leadership. When one dominates, imbalance follows. When both cooperate, genius awakens. Edison's faith in his idea, Ford's confidence in his vision, Lincoln's compassion under pressure, all were emotional strengths disciplined by thought. Practice the exercise of transmutation. When irritation rises, close your eyes and breathe until calm replaces tension. Then act. The world will notice a new steadiness in your manner. People will begin to defer to your judgment without knowing why. The calm man becomes a natural leader because his composure commands trust. At night, before rest, review your day. Ask, where did emotion rule me and where did I rule emotion? Each answer is progress. This simple reflection done daily will remake your character. Self-control is not learned in grand moments. It is earned in quiet correction. Peace of mind is the highest form of power. It is wealth that cannot be stolen, victory that requires no applause. When you remain calm, the invisible currents of infinite intelligence flow through you. Ideas come easily, words find harmony, and solutions appear where there were once obstacles. Let this truth settle in your heart. Your emotions are servants of your thought. They were never meant to be your masters. From this hour forward, resolve that no feeling shall dictate your conduct without the approval of your reason. Repeat. I am calm in thought, deliberate in feeling, certain in purpose. My emotions obey my will, and my will obeys my faith. You have learned to govern emotion. Now learn to simplify life itself. Part 3, the power of simplicity and definite purpose. There is no greater burden than confusion, and no greater relief than clarity. The mind that is divided against itself cannot think clearly, cannot act decisively, and therefore cannot succeed. Complexity is the enemy of peace. Simplicity is its master. When life becomes tangled with too many aims, too many duties, too many opinions, a man becomes like a compass spinning without direction. He loses his north because he has lost his one definite aim. Simplicity is not the absence of ambition. It is ambition purified. It is not smaller thinking. It is thinking made clear. To live simply is not to withdraw from life. It is to organize life. The man of simplicity is not idle. He is focused. He spends himself entirely upon what matters most, and thus his every act carries power. A cluttered desk is a cluttered mind. An overburdened day is an undecided one. When you clear the unnecessary, you make room for greatness. Andrew Carnegie began with a single aim, to produce steel more efficiently than any man alive. Every plan, every conversation, every alliance served that one definite purpose. He thought only of efficiency, and efficiency rewarded him with empire. The average man scatters his energy among 1,000 small desires, none burning hot enough to light his path. The successful man concentrates every spark upon one flame until it becomes fire. The law of concentration is eternal. You can have anything if you are willing to exclude everything that does not lead to it. Now, in this season of noise and demand, choose simplicity. Write upon paper the few things that truly matter, the people, the principles, the purpose that carry meaning. Ask yourself, what must I keep? What must I release? You will find that peace does not come from adding more, but from removing the unnecessary. It was the same for John D. Rockefeller. In days when the oil trade was chaos, he reduced disorder to order. He simplified every process, created clear lines of thought, and the market bent to his calmness. Men called him cold, but he was merely composed. He had learned that order is the soul of power. Decision is the instrument of simplicity. To decide is to cut away the unnecessary. Indecision is the thief of peace, for it keeps the mind divided. Every unresolved question consumes energy that could have built a better day. The man who decides quickly, guided by purpose, rests quickly too. Write your season plan. List 3 definite aims for these remaining days, no more. Let the first be of spirit, the second of mind, the third of service. Then let every act and thought serve one of these aims. This simple act will dissolve confusion faster than any prayer for peace. You were not made to live 100 lives in one body. The Creator gave you one life, one mind, one purpose. Make it definite, and the world will make way. The mind that knows its goal sees clearly through every distraction. Edison once said that genius is the ability to focus on one thing until it is done. When you simplify, you multiply. You will find yourself working less but accomplishing more. For power comes not from effort, but from direction. Say aloud, I do only what matters. I move with clarity. I finish what I begin. These are the words of simplicity. Every repetition sharpens your purpose until confusion can no longer find you. The greatest peace comes not from what you avoid, but from what you complete. Unfinished duties create silent unrest. Begin to close the small loops in your life. Answer the letter, finish the task, organize the space. Each completion releases energy and restores confidence. Now you understand why you have been tired. It was not the work, but the lack of order. The mind at war with itself cannot rest. Simplicity reconciles it. Order is the language of peace. In quiet reflection, think of your own life as an instrument. When properly tuned, it produces harmony. When neglected, it produces noise. Simplicity is tuning your life to the pitch of purpose. It removes discord and restores rhythm. The man who learns this law becomes unshakable. His energy no longer leaks through confusion. It flows through channels of precision. People begin to sense in him an invisible strength. They call it confidence. In truth, it is simplicity. Every day, review your plan. Ask, does this serve my purpose? If not, remove it. Life will reward you for every unnecessary weight you release. You will move lighter, think clearer, feel freer. Simplicity is the beginning of power. The definite aim is its crown. Together, they form the compass that guides all achievement. But remember, order alone is not enough. Without rhythm, even simplicity becomes stale. The next step is to bring discipline and faith into harmony, to create a steady pulse of power that carries you through every season. You have found clarity. Now we shall teach it to move. Part 4, the rhythm of discipline and faith. Faith without order is dream. Order without faith is machinery. Together they create power. Discipline is not a cage. It is a rhythm, a living pulse that carries a man from thought to triumph. Every great achievement has been the child of rhythm. The universe itself moves by law, by repetition, by harmony. Day follows night. Seed follows harvest, cause follows effect. Those who align their habits with that rhythm draw upon infinite power. When you observe a man who achieves much and speaks little, you are seeing discipline clothed in peace. He does not chase time, he directs it. He does not drift between impulses, he moves by design. His actions are not random, they follow an inward tempo, the rhythm of a purpose obeyed without complaint. Discipline is devotion. It is faith translated into structure. It is not the denial of comfort, but the acceptance of higher comfort. The comfort of knowing one's mind is master of itself. Those who live by whim are slaves of mood. Those who live by rhythm command fate. The difference between bondage and freedom is not talent, but habit. Consider Thomas Edison. His experiments were not bursts of genius, but a steady beat of persistence. 10,000 failures could not break his rhythm. He rose, worked, tested, failed, adjusted, and continued. When others spoke of discouragement, he spoke of discovery. His discipline was not punishment. It was partnership with law. Every act of repetition engraves faith upon the mind. Each time you follow through on your purpose, you deepen belief. Faith grows not by words, but by obedience. The one who prays for strength must act strong. The one who prays for peace must live orderly. Discipline is prayer made visible. Make for yourself a daily hour of faith, a fixed appointment with your purpose. During this hour, you will do 3 things. Give thanks for what has been gained, plan the next definite step, and reaffirm your belief in your ability to accomplish it. Treat this hour as sacred. Nothing of lesser importance shall disturb it. You will soon find that this hour will govern all others. Repeat, I will persist until I prevail. I will obey my purpose until success obeys me. My order brings freedom. My faith is action. Say it each morning as a vow. Let the sound of these words carve new channels in your subconscious mind. You will soon act automatically upon them, for habit is merely faith expressed through repetition. Do not despise small acts. The discipline that lifts a man to greatness is built from small obediences performed with precision. The body obeys what the mind rehearses. Each time you complete what you began, you strengthen the chain between desire and result. That invisible chain becomes the rhythm of success. Fatigue will come. Doubt will whisper. Delay will test your patience. These are not punishments. They are instruments of refinement. When you endure them with steadiness, the mind gains resilience. Discipline is forged not in triumph, but in resistance. The oak grows strong not in sunshine alone, but in storm. There is a rhythm in persistence that carries a man beyond willpower. It is the state in which faith takes over, when action becomes natural, when effort becomes harmony. You reach this point only through consistency. The musician does not think of each note. His training turns sound into song. The disciplined man does not think of each task. His order turns work into grace. When discouragement appears, remember this truth. Repetition transforms difficulty into ease. The first day of new discipline is heavy, the second lighter, the third familiar, the 10th effortless. Continue and habit will take the place of struggle. You are already becoming what you once admired, steady, calm, unshakable. Each morning you rise with purpose. You draw nearer to mastery. Discipline does not diminish joy, it amplifies it. It frees you from the chaos of indecision and gives peace to the hours that once consumed you. Andrew Carnegie practiced the same rhythm. He thought, planned, acted, and rested in precise order. For years he labored in obscurity, holding to the rhythm of his vision. When the time of opportunity came, it found him ready. The undisciplined wait for miracles. The disciplined prepare for them. Take heart in knowing that each repetition of right action is a seed of strength. The field may look barren, but beneath the soil, roots are spreading. Persist in watering the habit, and the harvest will not fail. Each evening, reflect upon your day as one counts his earnings. Did you obey your purpose? Did you complete your vow? This quiet review is worth more than hours of wasted worry. Improvement begins the moment attention is turned inward. Every return to these teachings strengthens their power within you. Read them again. Listen again. For the mind, like the body, grows through repetition. Truth must be visited often before it becomes instinct. Knowledge read once is memory. Knowledge repeated is mastery. The world around you will soon sense the new rhythm within you. Others will feel peace in your presence, for discipline radiates calm. They will not know what changed, but they will trust you more, depend upon you more, follow your lead without question. The disciplined man becomes the axis around which disorder turns to harmony. Let your life become a song of ordered faith. Each day, each act, each thought shall become a note in that melody. The world will hear it in your calmness, your efficiency, your certainty. When you master your rhythm, the world hears your song. Now let that song echo through generations. Part 5. The Legacy of Peace and Wisdom. If you have come this far, you have already begun to change. A new calm has settled over your thoughts, a calm not born of retreat but of recognition. You now understand that peace is not a luxury for the fortunate. It is a discipline for the strong. To govern the mind is the greatest of victories, and to live in order is the finest form of wealth. The final step of mastery is not achievement, it is transmission. What good is peace if it ends with one man? What worth is wisdom if it is buried in silence? The one who has conquered his emotions, ordered his thoughts, and built his life in faith now bears the duty of continuity. For peace is not merely to be felt, it must be taught. Every life is a lesson written for those who will come after. The man who walks in self-control writes upon eternity. His calm becomes a refuge for those who have not yet found theirs. The measure of mastery is not what a man accomplishes in solitude, but what others accomplish in his presence. To live well is to teach without words, to become a living example of the law. Wealth, peace, and wisdom are sacred trusts. They belong not to the individual, but to the stream of humanity. When you attain them, you do not own them. You hold them for the next in line. Every fortune, whether of gold or of virtue, carries the same moral. Use it to uplift. The disciplined thinker, the calm worker, the faithful leader, all become instruments through which infinite intelligence blesses mankind. Consider Andrew Carnegie. When his enterprises had fulfilled their purpose, he turned from building wealth to building minds. His libraries stand as monuments to the law of continuation, the recognition that knowledge must not end with the knower. In this act he found not decline, but exaltation. His peace multiplied through service. So too with Lincoln, whose composure under pressure taught a nation how to think in dignity. His words were few but chosen. They outlived him because they carried order within them. Each sentence was deliberate, each pause filled with meaning. He died, yet his calmness instructs the living. Henry Ford believed that wealth should flow, not stagnate. He created systems that gave men dignity in work and time for thought. His factories were not only for production, but for principle. He believed that every worker, however humble, could be taught to think. That belief changed industry forever. Through such men, the pattern is clear. Mastery seeks multiplication. The man who has achieved peace must create it for others. When one mind is lifted from confusion, many follow. The calm mind becomes a beacon in a stormy world. You have walked the path of control, of clarity, of discipline. Now you must walk the path of example. Your conduct, your speech, your daily consistency, these are the sermons that will outlive every word you speak. The world is ruled not by argument, but by demonstration. Ask yourself, what will my life teach when my voice is silent? Will my children inherit worry or wisdom? Will my name remind others of fear or of faith? The answer lies not in what you say, but in what you repeat each day. Every thought you hold, every action you perform, adds a line to the book of your legacy. From this hour, let your life be guided by one command. Be the example you once sought. Live so that others, seeing your calm, remember what is possible. Speak so that others, hearing your conviction, find courage. Work so that others, witnessing your discipline, discover hope. To keep your peace, you must renew it daily. The same way a fire must be tended, peace must be fed with learning. No man outgrows study. Knowledge is not a single discovery. It is an unfolding revelation that greets the disciplined mind anew each day. Set aside time each morning and each evening for study. Read great books, not once but many times. Listen to noble speeches until their words shape your thought and their rhythm refines your voice. The truths that change you most are never those heard once. They are those returned to often. Every reading deepens understanding. Each hearing reveals new layers of meaning. The mind, through repetition, carves channels through which power flows freely. Just as a river shapes rock through persistence, study shapes character through constancy. Do not rush to gather new lessons. Return instead to the eternal ones. Think and grow rich. The law of success and every principle of truth you have learned contain enough wisdom to sustain a lifetime, but only if you live with them daily. These are not books to be finished. They are guides to be practiced. Make a vow to learn something small each day. A single paragraph studied deeply is worth more than a library skimmed in haste. The man who studies a great truth until it becomes part of his bloodline becomes immortal through influence. His ideas continue in the thoughts of others long after he is gone. This repetition is not labor. It is enlightenment renewed. Every time you return to a principle, you meet it as a stronger mind. The same truth that inspired you once will instruct you differently tomorrow. Growth reveals new meanings in the same eternal words. Let this be your silent discipline to revisit, to rehearse, to remember. Knowledge, like peace, fades when neglected. The mind must be exercised daily or it declines into drifting. One day without reflection leads to a week of confusion. Guard your learning as you guard your faith. Through daily study, you will also save time, years, perhaps decades, of struggle. Every man who lives without order spends his life relearning lessons he could have mastered once. But the student who studies daily and listens repeatedly advances swiftly, compressing the experience of a lifetime into a few seasons of deliberate growth. That is how one saves 10, 20, even 30 years of wasted motion, by thinking deliberately today. And when discouragement comes, as it always does, return to the words that steadied you once before. Listen again. Read again. For repetition does not weaken truth. It strengthens it. Every return to wisdom renews the mind and restores its alignment with infinite intelligence. The greatest minds in history were not those who learned most quickly, but those who learned most consistently. They understood that greatness is not in the amount known, but in the faithfulness of practice. Each day they revisited the foundations, faith, purpose, discipline, and gratitude, and from those same stones they built empires of thought. The law of learning is the law of life. The man who ceases to study ceases to grow, and the man who ceases to grow begins to drift. Keep your thought alive through constant feeding. Keep your imagination active through exposure to great ideas. Keep your heart humble before truth, for humility is the door to wisdom. Do not seek applause for this. True students of success study quietly. They measure growth not in praise, but in peace. Their reward is not admiration, but understanding. And that understanding shows itself in calmness, order, and mastery of time. The man who learns daily walks through life unhurried, for he knows where he stands and where he is going. He saves his strength for what matters. He speaks with precision because he has thought with patience. To such a man, stress loses its power. He is not tossed by events, but moves through them as the pilot moves through wind, aware of the storm, but guided by compass. Repeat often, I am a builder of peace. My calm is my legacy. Through me, others find order and wisdom. Let this affirmation be both instruction and reminder. It binds your thoughts to purpose and your purpose to eternity. There will come a day when you will feel the full reward of this labor, not in wealth alone, but in the quiet certainty that you have mastered life itself. That is the true success for which all others are but shadows. As you move forward, remember, peace is not the absence of work. It is the mastery of thought. The mind trained in peace cannot fail. It does not hurry, for it knows that all things unfold according to law. It does not fear, for it knows faith is stronger than doubt. It does not break, for it stands upon principle. You were not born to chase noise. You were born to create harmony. The world needs your calm, your faith, your discipline, your example. Begin each day in thought, continue in order, and end in gratitude. In that rhythm, every act becomes sacred, and every hour becomes peace. Carry this law through all your days, and it will carry you through all trials. For though the storms of circumstance may rage, they cannot touch the soul that lives in rhythm with truth. You have learned to think clearly, to feel calmly, to act deliberately. Now, live these truths so fully that your peace becomes contagious. Let others see through you what calmness can do. Let your order restore their faith. Let your discipline renew their courage. And when your name is spoken, let it stand not for wealth alone, but for wisdom. Let those who follow you say, "He lived in peace, and by his example we learn to do the same." This is the legacy of dominion, the inheritance of the mind that has mastered itself. You are now the teacher, the builder, the light. Your calm is your crown. So go forth into this season not hurried but centered, not seeking rest but embodying it, not chasing peace but commanding it. For the mind trained in order can never again be a slave to chaos. You have saved years of turmoil by choosing to think now. You have saved decades of confusion by learning to be still. You have, in truth, saved a lifetime, because from this day your life will no longer be spent reacting, but creating. The world rushes, but you are calm. The world worries, but you are certain. The world forgets, but you remember. And so, my friend, this is your inheritance: peace, wisdom, and power. Guard them well, teach them freely, and live them daily. For the calm mind is the throne of destiny, and from that throne you shall rule your world. Epilogue: The Return to Peace. There comes a time, after all striving has been quieted, when a man looks upon his life and sees not the struggle, but the rhythm that carried him through. In that still moment, he understands what all his labor was for. Not noise, not possession, not approval, but peace. The same peace he once sought in the world he now finds within himself. The mind that has learned stillness has learned all things. I have taught you laws that do not age, the law of inner stillness, the science of emotional command, the power of simplicity, the rhythm of discipline and faith, and the legacy of peace and wisdom. These laws, lived daily, lead not only to wealth, but to dominion, the mastery of life through mastery of mind. Yet there remains one more step, the one that transforms philosophy into living practice, the act of returning to peace on demand. No man can escape stress entirely. The world will continue to test your composure. Others will act without thought. Circumstance will change without warning. Yet the difference between the drifting soul and the deliberate one lies not in what happens to them, but in what they do when it happens. The drifting man reacts. The deliberate man returns. You must therefore possess a method, simple enough to use anywhere, powerful enough to restore command. The following exercise is not complex, but it is sacred. It will release tension from body and mind and return your thoughts to the stillness from which all wisdom flows. It requires no tools, no ritual, no witness. It requires only you. Find a place, even for a minute, where you may be undisturbed. It need not be silent. Silence will come from within. Sit upright if you can, or stand if you must, but let the spine be straight. This posture is the symbol of dominion, the mind above, the heart below, the body in balance. Now close your eyes for a moment. Let the world fade into distance. Feel the breath enter through your nose, cool, light, alive. Let it leave through your lips, warm, gentle, free. Do not try to control it at first. Simply notice it. For where attention goes, power follows. After several breaths, begin the first step. Pause. As the breath enters, say silently, I receive peace. As it leaves, say, I release tension. Do this 3 times. With each repetition, imagine the mind quieting as water settles when untouched. You are not fighting thought. You are allowing thought to rest. The turbulence that once filled your chest begins to loosen. Feel the shoulders drop, the jaw unclench, the hands soften. You have begun to return. Bring to mind the thought or event that troubles you. Do not resist it. Look at it as you would a passing cloud. Ask, what is this teaching me? Every disturbance is a disguised instruction. By turning curiosity toward stress, you transform it from enemy into messenger. Hold this thought for a moment, then breathe again, slowly, deeply, with intention. As you breathe, imagine each inhalation filling you with quiet authority, and each exhalation clearing away confusion. Continue until the body feels lighter and the mind more spacious. In this calmness, make a single decision. It may be as small as choosing patience, or as great as forgiving an injury. The mind, once still, must be directed, else it drifts again. Decision anchors peace. Without decision, stillness turns to stagnation. Say within yourself, I decide to remain calm. I decide to think clearly. I decide to live by faith. Let this become your command. Open your eyes, slowly. Look around you, as if seeing for the first time. Every sound, every object, every breath belongs to the present moment. Nothing else exists. You are here, complete, unhurried, safe. This simple exercise may be done in 1 minute or in 10. You may practice it before sleep, before speech, before decision. The power lies not in its length, but in its sincerity. Each time you perform it, you strengthen the bridge between chaos and calm. In time, you will not need to find peace. It will find you. You will carry it into meetings, into streets, into conversation. People will sense it before you speak. They will calm in your presence without knowing why. That is the influence of mastery, the silent transmission of peace from one disciplined mind to another. Rest is not the absence of activity, it is the absence of resistance. The body may move, but the spirit remains at ease. The one who understands this can labor 12 hours and yet feel renewed, for his energy flows without friction. The secret is not in doing less, but in thinking less of what does not serve purpose. Each night before sleep, repeat the exercise of return. Breathe, observe, decide. You will find rest deeper than slumber, the rest of the soul aligned with law. You will wake clearer, stronger, and ready to direct the new day. Gratitude strengthens this rhythm. Before closing your eyes, recall 3 blessings, however small. Thank the power that sustains you. Gratitude dissolves complaint and makes the heart receptive to guidance. Faith enters where gratitude opens the door. Every man must renew his mind daily, or he begins to decline. Habit will try to carry you back into hurry, into old patterns of reaction. Do not condemn yourself for this. Simply return. Each return is a victory. Repetition is the guardian of peace. Read the great books again and again. Hear great speeches often. Let noble words replace the noise of the world. You will find that each repetition strengthens your calm. The first reading enlightens. The second transforms. The third engraves the truth upon the soul. Remember that every thought you permit to dwell in your mind builds or destroys. Guard the mind as a banker guards his vault. Only thoughts of order, gratitude, and faith are worthy to reside there. Every time you notice fear or anger entering, perform the exercise of return. In less than a minute, the invader will be gone. There will be times when you cannot sit quietly, when the world presses upon you in work, travel, or duty. Yet even then, the law holds. The calm mind is portable. It travels where you go. In those moments, breathe while walking. Speak less, think slower, act deliberately. Between one step and the next, repeat within. I move in rhythm. I walk in faith. When you drive, let the hum of the road become a rhythm for reflection. When you wait, let waiting become meditation. The wise never lose time. They convert it. Even in conversation, practice listening as an art. Let others finish before you speak. Silence between words is the soil in which understanding grows. When the world speaks loudly, your quietness will carry greater authority than their noise. At least once each week, take a full hour for stillness. No distraction, no device, no noise, only you and your thoughts. Begin with breathing, then writing. Record what you have learned that week, not events, but principles. Ask, what did life teach me about myself? What did I practice? What must I correct? This quiet hour will become your sanctuary. It will refine your power of thought more than any lecture could. Over time, these notes will form a personal philosophy, a record of your growth, a map of your mind. The man who studies himself daily saves a decade of wasted searching. At the close of each day, remember 3 truths. Peace is my natural state. I lose it only when I forget. I regain it the moment I remember. Every emotion is a messenger. It comes not to wound, but to instruct. I listen, learn, release. Discipline is devotion. My order is my faith made visible. Each act of obedience to law draws me nearer to power. By repeating these reflections nightly, you engrave them upon the subconscious. Soon they will act without your effort. You will awaken each morning already calm, as a river that no longer questions its course. Peace is never lost. It is only covered by thought. Remove the excess, and it returns as naturally as light fills an open room. You need not go anywhere, buy anything, or wait for anyone to change. Peace is not a destination. It is a condition of alignment with law. Every time you practice the exercise of return, you prove that alignment is within reach. The same method that calms you now will calm you 20 years from now. Laws do not age, and truth does not expire. Remember, your mind is both architect and tenant of your life. If the architecture is unstable, the occupant suffers. But when you build with thought, faith, and discipline, your mind becomes a temple of peace. There will always be another December, another season of noise. The world will tempt you to hurry, to purchase, to prove. Resist gently. You do not owe the world your exhaustion. You owe it your example. Teach by conduct. When others grow tense, remain composed. When they complain, speak gratitude. When they rush, move deliberately. You will find that your calm does more good than 1,000 arguments, and when the season ends, continue. For peace is not a holiday virtue. It is the daily garment of the wise. There is one final step to complete your transformation, the conscious act of release. To release is not to abandon responsibility. It is to surrender control of what lies beyond command. Sit again. Breathe once more. Think of what weighs upon you, a worry, a duty, a fear. Picture it as a stone held in your hand. Now open your hand in imagination and let it fall. Watch it descend into the infinite depth of faith. Say quietly, I have done my part. The rest belongs to law. The mind that releases finds rest. The man who clings suffers twice, once from the circumstance, again from resistance. When you have acted with faith and order, let go. Infinite intelligence completes what you begin. This act of release may be practiced anywhere. You may perform it standing in line, walking in snow, or lying awake at night. It requires no witness, only willingness. Each release lightens the soul. Over time, you will live as one who owns nothing, yet possesses everything, for nothing owns you. End each practice in gratitude. Whisper it aloud, thank you. No other words are needed. Gratitude is the simplest form of prayer and the most powerful. It transforms every moment into abundance. It reminds you that even in stress you are provided for, even in confusion you are guided. You may not always feel thankful, but say it nonetheless. Words of gratitude open the gates of faith. The heart follows where speech leads. And so the cycle of mastery continues. Stillness births thought. Thought commands emotion. Emotion fuels action. Action creates order. Order manifests peace. Peace, when practiced, becomes wisdom. And wisdom, when shared, becomes legacy. When you tire, return to stillness. When you doubt, return to faith. When you drift, return to discipline. When you succeed, return to gratitude. Life is not a straight road, but a circle of continual return. In each revolution, you rise higher as a spiral ascending toward infinite understanding. This, then, is the final lesson. Mastery is not an end, but a rhythm. You do not arrive. You practice. You do not possess. You embody. You began this journey perhaps weary, anxious, overwhelmed by a season that promised joy but delivered pressure. You end it with the awareness that peace was never outside your reach. It was hidden beneath layers of reaction, waiting for you to think. Now you know how to find it. You know how to breathe, how to pause, how to decide. You know that a single moment of calm thought has more power than 1,000 restless actions. You know that faith, order, and gratitude are the pillars of serenity. But most of all, you know that peace is not given, it is chosen. Choose it each day. And when life becomes noisy again, and it will, remember this: the stillness you create within will always be greater than the noise around you. The world cannot disturb the mind that remembers its own dominion. You are now that mind. You are that stillness. You are that dominion. Return to this message whenever stress clouds your thoughts. Listen often. Read often. Each time you do, you will understand it more deeply, because each time you will have become more. And thus peace remains, forever waiting, forever ready within you.